Board attached are the minutes of the executive session and regular session meetings held on May 5th, 2026.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the executive session and regular session minutes of May 5th, 2026. Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. Here we are, and we pass. Vote. Now we pass 5-0. Financial reports, vouchers, secretary reports, that would be you this evening in the absence of our student reps.
We have school education, $1,126,199.42. Education form curriculum materials, $2,260.96. Exempt operating, post 2009, $107,974.08. School operations, $476,893.63. School lunch, $179,711.69. Self-insurance fund, $582,420.03. Community gifts and donations, $5,523.88. Building rookies, $845.47. School City of Hobart Educational Foundation, $3,864.08. Eat, Play, and Learn Project, $87.96. Whole Family Donation Fund, $500. Early Years Initiative Grants, $193.54. Healthy Hobart, BFTS, $274.56. Community Partners, $1,062.85. Indiana Learns, $324.31. Safe Supporting Addiction Free, $675. Title I Part A, fiscal year 25-26, $4,336.28. Title II Part A, fiscal year 25-26, $3,716.65. Clearing accounts, $436,620.37. Self-insurance clearing, $70,849.62. Clearing flexible benefits, pay up, $62,418.10. Clearing insurance account, $3,865.44. Total vouchers, $3,070,620.05.
I recommend the board approve payment of vouchers for May 21st, 2026.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Are there any comments on the agenda items from the audience? If not, I do have a announcement that we are adding an agenda item in regards to permission to advertise a school construction project. So that will be added on here in a little while. Next item on the agenda is personnel. Mr. Mock?
Board, in your electronic packet, you received a copy of the personnel report addendum, the ECA personnel report, and the ECA personnel report addendum for May 21st. Board action is requested.
I recommend the board approve the personnel report as presented.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote.
waiting for that to come up on the screen. They're having a little bit of technical difficulty there. So for the audience purposes, on that extracurricular personnel report was the naming of our girls varsity soccer coach, and I'm going to do the pleasures of introducing who that is. She'll be shy. She will not want to come up here. I'll read it, then you get to come up here and say a few words, okay? It's Katie Reines, who is an amazing teacher and coach. And I want to just read what the athletic director prepared for the recommendation that he sent to me. But I would have to tell you that I already know all of these things because of the individual that she is. Great teacher, and great teachers make great coaches make great teachers. Katie is both. And I've just had the pleasure of watching her as she is our varsity dive coach, our diving coach. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with Katie. She is so passionate about what she does, whether it be the classroom or the sport. And so I want to give you some background on her soccer background, which you may not be familiar with. First of all, she is a Hobart graduate and a former 4-year varsity soccer player. During her playing career, she earned All Duneland Athletic Conference honorable mention honors and served as the team captain under longtime coach, Bricky coach Ken Klein, whom many of you know. She's had the opportunity to continue her career at the collegiate level, but ultimately chose to attend Indiana University and focus on her studies. She is an early college instructor at our high school, just for all of you to know that, and she worked hard to get that, and we are forever grateful for that, Katie. She brings a strong background in athletics, leadership, and student-athlete development, including more than 13 years of coaching experience at Hobart High School, where she's built a reputation for developing a disciplined, competitive program, and it's rooted in accountability, hard work, and positive team culture. Under her leadership, Hobart's diving program has grown into one of the largest in the state, and we have so much to be proud of, even though it gives me a heart attack every time they're on the boards. And she's produced conference champions, regional qualifiers, state competitors, and All-Americans. She also holds an NFHS coaching soccer certification and is certified U.S. soccer grassroots coach. She's known for her ability to connect with student athletes while maintaining high standards. Coach Reines is committed to creating an environment where players are challenged to grow individually and collectively. Her vision for the Hobart Lady Bricky soccer program is to continue to build a competitive, disciplined, and united program that represents Hobart High School, and it represents our community as well. It's with pride, toughness, and character, and I know she'll conduct that varsity leadership approach to that sport that she brings to our diving program, and I would also just say to her classroom. And so with that being said, Katie, we welcome you as our girls varsity head coach. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief. In case you're wondering, the girls tennis sectional is going on, and they just won the semifinal in a third set. So they're going to be in the finals. I think they're playing them tonight because they anticipated rain tomorrow, which is why Coach Black is not here. But I want to thank the board and Dr. Buffington, Mr. Black, and our principals, Coach Osika, I keep saying Coach, Mr. Osika, and Ms. Newell for their recommendation. And it really is like with great pride and thankfulness for you guys to put the trust in me for a program like this that has such great tradition, such great players. They built such a great program, and I'm just so honored to step into this role. I want to thank our board that has been working hard to maintain everything while we've been looking for this new coach and my assistant coach who I'm really looking forward to working with and really moving these girls forward and seeing what they can do, because it really is a great team, and I'm really excited to see what we can do in the future. So again, thank you just so much for the opportunity, and I'm just excited to get started. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Our next item on
and there's a bunch of them out there. And I have our Director of Social Emotional Learning, and Mrs. Mathis is out in the audience. I'll call her up to the podium. And I'm going to call up our Bricky superstar mentors if they want to come up as well. We definitely want to recognize them. Let's call our students up that are out in the audience. And we're going to talk a little bit about what this program is. And then I'll have Mrs. Mathis say a few words. I'll say a few words. This is only a fraction of them, everyone. I probably should go over there. I will. Just let me get over there for just a minute. Mrs. Mathis. All right. So for the audience purposes, I was approached last year by Audrey Turley. Raise your hand over there. Let them know who you are. There you go. And so she had sent me a proposal to do an after-school club on social emotional learning with one of our elementary schools. Now, if you know Audrey, like I know her very well, she reads books and nonstop, and she was actually borrowing books that I had given to her mom, who's a principal at Liberty Elementary, and it was all on child psychology and development. And I said, well, if you're wanting to do something like that, I really need to see what your lessons would look like, and I need to run them with my Director of Social Emotional Learning. And so she sends me a proposal, and we went through the proposal, and it was very good. And I said, how are we going to know if it works? And she said, okay. And I said, no, you have to pre and post test, right? And so I said, you're going to have to come up with a pre-test and a post-test, and let's see if this really works. And I shall point out that her teacher was Katie Reines. And this is where a lot of this started coming from, right? And so I said, all right, Audrey, if this is going to work, pre and post-test, you have to do the teachers and the students, and then we have to look at the data, right? And did your program actually work? And what we were really hoping was to work with our youngest students on self-control, discipline, trusting other people, and she ran the program. She ran it at Liberty Elementary. The results were unbelievable. And these were kids that were answering the surveys, and their teachers could not believe the change in the students. And I said, you have a lot to be proud of. And I said, anybody that knows me, I'm like, we gotta scale this. We gotta do this everywhere. And so I met with Mrs. Mathis, we met with Mrs. Reines, and we met with Audrey. And we said, we've got to replicate this at our other elementary schools. And if we can take second, third graders, and we can do this with them, can you imagine how successful they will be going into those accountability grades, and just being confident of themselves and knowing what to do, having that self-control. So then Mrs. Mathis and Audrey, then we started training other students to replicate the program at the other elementary schools. And they actually did this after school. And we did it successfully at all of our elementary schools. So I do want to say, and I can talk forever, because obviously I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of all of our students that under her leadership and Mrs. Mathis, that we were able to replicate this program. But this is the power of being a Bricky and initiative, right? And I have an idea. Can somebody help me with that? And she did it, and I couldn't be prouder of it. And by the way, we should tell you that she's going to the University of Notre Dame, and she will be studying neuroscience and child development. And so this is very near and dear to her heart and what she wants to study. And for that, I'm extremely proud. I know her parents are as well. But I can't thank you enough for what you did for our other elementary schools. And so I'm going to let Mrs. Mathis come in because, obviously falling under some of her leadership too, that we make sure that we have a standardized program under that leadership. So go ahead, Mrs. Mathis.
So we did. We went from one instructor with Ms. Audrey Dr. Buffington and Miss Mathis for really helping me and guiding me in this process. They really took my, helped me take my idea and turn it into something real and showed me how I can use my leadership and make an impact. I'd also like to thank my mom, because my mom was actually the first person I spoke to about this. And she was like, you need to talk to Dr. Buffington. She can help you a lot more. So that was very helpful. Same with my dad. My dad has helped and supported me a lot. So just thank you to everyone. This was an amazing opportunity to just grow and learn a lot more. And we learned a lot with the kids too. So they weren't the only ones learning. I don't know if anyone else was the same thing. So thank you. Thank you all.
Great job to all of you. Give them a round of applause.
And my apologies for future, if anyone would like to take pictures, you can move anywhere around the room. If you want to come back here by us, you're more than welcome to do that too. If this is not just our program, it belongs to everybody, so. Alrighty, next on our agenda item is for the School City of Hobart retirees. Dr. Buffington.
Yes, this is bittersweet. There's some people sitting out in the audience that are retiring, and it is. It's just bittersweet. But we will let them go gracefully and hope that they come back and visit us. And so we're going to start off with a couple of people that are at the middle school. And the first person that we're going to recognize this evening, and then I will call their principal up. Mrs. Neely is out in the audience, and she wants to go up to the podium. She can say a few words. The first person that we're going to recognize is Betty Funkhauser, and if Betty would come up, I know she's not going to want to do that, but if Betty would come up. Come on, Betty. And first of all, these are golden apples that represent their years of service, and she can open it if she wants. And I see her lovely sister, and so she can open that up. Let me just say, anybody that knows anything about the Brickies, you obviously know Betty Funkhauser. She is just a mainstay here, and seldom, and I don't want to get too emotional here, but when you get the notice that she's wanting to retire, it just made you sad. Because she is an incredible teacher, incredible coach. And I've had the pleasure of working with her for a very long time, and I don't care what you ask Betty to do, she'll do it, right? And I don't care what it is. I mean, I'm going to tell this funny story about her. She is just a crack up. So I'm like, hey Betty, there's this program that is on word recognition. It was called Fast Forward. And I said, I need somebody that can motivate middle school kids, because it's like even nonsense words, but it's to help them if they're non-readers. And I said, will you help me with this, Betty? Because, coaches are motivating, right? So I want you all to know that this program was going on in the entire school city of Hobart to help kids with word recognition. Betty Funkhauser had the highest score in the entire district. And that's because that's who Betty is, right? And it's that competitor, but it's like, hey, if this is important for kids, we're going to make this count, we're going to do it. And she never hesitated to do anything for kids, right? And then, you can even say, all right, so like, hey, Betty, we need you to mentor a kid. And I'm talking with Mrs. Neely. This is hysterical. So I get this email from a kid, a student. I shouldn't say kid, but a student. He emails me. And for all of you adults out there that would never think about, you would have never even known your superintendent or emailed them, they have no problems emailing me. And so I get this email. Could you ask Miss Funkhauser to quit bugging me? I call up Mrs. Neely and I say to her, like, what is going on over there? She said, oh, Miss Funkhauser has his number. And so, I mean, like, to bring out the best in students that have will problems, right? So you could have a will problem. Why am I here? And how do I motivate someone to do their absolute best? And it would only be a person like Betty that could bring out the best in people, right? And if you've seen her running around town, if you've seen the kids chasing behind her, if you've been on the podcast show, the kids all loved that podcast. You know her as the marathon runner, you know, gets knocked over by a deer, gets back up and finishes the race. She's just a legend, and people that know her, you can't help but love her. And she will be forever missed, and I can't even like begin to tell you how much it means to us, the Learn to Swim program. You see, I could sit here all night and tell you accolades of her. There are just hundreds and hundreds of kids that learn how to swim because of Betty Funkhauser. And I don't know what else to say except for you go into that pool and on the first day they're petrified. And by the end of it, they're all swimming like fish. And so, you know, that's a legacy that she leaves behind too, that she started. And you know, just her coaching capabilities, obviously you all know her as a coach, whether it's cross country, track, basketball, volleyball, you name it, she does it all. But she's got a heart for kids, and that's why she did it. And so I just want to say to you, as your superintendent, I mean, like, I'm forever grateful and immensely proud of you. And I hope you come back and visit us because it won't be the same without you. So, like, I'll give you a key fob if you want to come back. So we'll break a few rules here. But I'm going to ask her principal to come up and say a few words, if you would. And then if anybody else is in the audience that wants to say a few words, because I see a few people back in the background there that might want to say a few things.
Okay, well, I love Coach Funky, and I do not want to be emotional either, and I'm aging myself, but she taught my youngest son, who was 4 to swim. He's 25 now. My oldest son, who's almost 33, he was one of her guards. And I've been in the school city of Hobart for a long time too, and there's always been Coach Funky. So I asked Coach Funky for some of her stats, and I was just cracking up with this. She's been teaching for 47 years, and you would never know. 47. She taught high school biology for her first year, and then was transferred to high school PE, and then she went over to the junior high, as it was called back in the day, and it became the middle school. And this is where she spent most of her career, where it just fit her, she said. She's had the opportunity of coaching first the high school's girls cross country team back in 1982, and won the conference sectionals and placed 10th in the state on their very first year. She's also coached middle school cross country, basketball, and track, and has enjoyed every minute working with kids. She taught summer swimming lessons for 43 years. She said one of her best moments of teaching is when she sees students who have a fear of water, but they learn how to swim and dive, leaving class smiling with a whole new level of self-confidence. Same is true when they learn to rollerblade, and she's on her rollerblades all day long when they do rollerblading. Both are activities that will stay with them for a lifetime. Her favorite memory, and I have permission from the student's parent, her favorite memory is watching Jeremiah learn to not only swim and dive, but to do a perfect front flip off the diving board. I even had Jeremiah demonstrate for the entire class, and she videotaped it and sent it to his mother because she was so nervous about her son swimming because he was not a good swimmer, and now he's doing flips off the diving board. She has 3 sisters. I love her little mom, Mary. Her mom, Mary's in her 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just a few years ago, they had a plank challenge where they got on the floor and do planks. Mary would do them too, and Mom, and Betty. And
Which,
Betty,
by the way, we should say her mom made masks for all of us during COVID. So for
Yes.
those of you who did not know, when there was a shortage of masks, her grandmother made masks for all of our staff. How about that?
yes, her and her little church ladies, and they also made me for my birthday these little hot pots or whatever, so I put my bowl of soup in there so it would hold it, little Mary and her church ladies. Betty has run over 80 marathons, and she started running in her late 40s. I'm past late 40s, but still there's hope. Anyway, Betty is the biggest cheerleader for everyone. Everyone. And I find her in a very energetic, positive mood every single day. And she comes to work. She comes to work. And so I'm going to miss, as we know her as Coach Funky, so very much. I've spent the last 11 years as her principal, and now we're just really good friends.
Yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody in the audience want to say a few words before Betty does? Please do. Yeah, come on up, Dan. You can take the podium if you want, or stand right next to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan is one of our maintenance engineers. He runs the pool and just about any other thing that we need help with.
So, I took the job 10 years ago, and when I saw that pool and the shape that it was in back then, I mean, it was put together with Band-Aids and duct tape. And every morning, I didn't know what to tell Betty. And are we going to have a pool today or not, she'd ask me. And there were so many days that I sat in Felix's office and like, Felix, I don't know if we can keep pushing this pool any much longer. And he's like, Dan, Betty's got a mission. You really want to tell her that we can't open up that pool? Get back in there and give it one more try. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. And sure enough, we kept that thing going until we're able to do a remodel. And I just want to say that if it wasn't for your passion to teach these kids how to swim, we wouldn't be pushing that pool into the future. I mean, that remodel probably wouldn't have taken place. So, and it's an honor to get behind, as a support service person, to get behind something with such a mission. I mean, you're going to be missed.
Thank you.
He is the best.
Our pool looks as good as it did when I first
Yeah.
started here.
And it's so important. I mean, that mission that she had and the Learn to Swim program, everyone. I mean, when you have so many lakes and pools around, we need our kids to be able to swim. And you've contributed greatly to that. And if you haven't seen the middle school pool, you should stop by. Pete Cortez put his marks on it as well.
Beautiful.
Our local artist. It's just beautiful. All right, who else was out there? I saw some hands. Come on up. Mrs. Paulson.
Yes.
Come on up.
I might get to you, that's okay. So she knows I'm coming from a whole different perspective. I was one of her students. I was not a great student. It was one that you saw the name on the list and you didn't want me in the class. But she never gave up on me. She was one of those teachers that I would behave badly because I knew that you would just push me away and have nothing to do with me, and she never did that. She kept pushing and kept pushing me and kept being involved. And she loved swimming, and I even went into swim class and told her I didn't know how to swim. So for 3 days I sat on the side of the pool, and you think she would have sent me to the office. She didn't. She came down there and played the game with me and made me fall in love with her, and by day 3 I could swim. I would tell her swim lessons. She knew that wasn't true, but that's the impact that you make on kids. You make an impact on us as adults, but as kids, I'm 45 now, and I still think of you all the time and how you pushed me, and it makes me want to push my students and the students that do have those struggles to make those connections with them, and that's coming from you, inspiring me. So I wish you the best, and you know that you've made a difference in a lot of people's lives. So thank you.
That is so true. Thank you. I see somebody else back there. Come on up, Mrs. Swafford.
Okay, I don't ever do this.
Everybody knows
She does not.
do not.
But you've got this.
I have to. So I've known Betty for like forever, as a student, as an athlete, as a mom of swim kids and kids through the school, and then a coworker. She was my coach through all of my running, my half marathons. The very first time I ever ran a race, I said, I half marathon. What do I need to know? and then I coached with her for the last 10 years, and I could tell you stories. But I think the best part is just she's so like just motivating for the kids, because it's not easy to get 11, 12, 13-year-olds after a whole day of school to say, hey, let's go run 3 miles in the hot heat on the bike path. And she did it, and she did it for me too, because there were most days I didn't want to do it either. And she's just so uplifting and motivating. And every time, I'm telling you what, every day on that bike path, we would run past somebody. Coach Funkhauser, you look the exact same. And we'd run past, I'd say, oh, Betty, who was it? She's like, oh, a student. I said, oh, do you remember? But I think we all have a funky story that we could tell. So, she's left a legacy of all of Hobart. She's taught all of Hobart how to swim. Another funny story, we just had conference for track a couple weeks ago, and it's Betty's last conference. And so the coach there, we were like, we should, announce and do something for Betty. And she's like, do you have any stats on her? I'm like, get you some. So we're down on the field. I'm like, so Betty, how long have you coached track? And I'm like, 47 years coaching. How many marathons was that? 85 marathons. And she told me some great stories of, college running, and she was an athlete herself. And they actually started the announcement saying that she's been coaching 47 years, which was before Title IX, before they even cared about girls' sports. So she's been around for a long time, so she leaves behind such a legacy, and, we're all going to miss her. And I still think she's coming back, so I'm fingers crossed, August, just around the
I'm pretty sure we'll see her running on
Oh yeah, I'm going to be looking for her on that bike path. If you see me on.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful. I don't want to miss anybody else. Is there anybody else out there?
I had something I wanted to say.
All right, go ahead.
Both of my kids were taught to swim by you, and we had tried other programs where I take my kids and they're peeling them off of me to try to get them to just kick their leg. I love your style. There were no parents in there. You said goodbye to us at the door, and we all trusted you with our children. But you gave them much more than the ability to swim. You gave them a gift of life. Think of how many kids in the city of Hobart have that life-saving skill you gave them. That's a legacy that is just will go on for a long time. Thank you. Thank you. And I hate to admit how old I am, but I remember when you were hired. I was in high school. But there was an air of excitement from the time you first started, because you were the young, new gym teacher. And I love seeing what you've done here. So thank you. Thank you.
All right, Miss Betty, you have some
Yeah.
words?
47 years went by like that. Yeah. When I look back, I really think 47 years. But it has been that long, and they've been good. I've loved it. I've had a good career here. Got to work with a lot of great people, different principals, co-workers, teachers, custodial staff, cafeteria, bus drivers. Believe me, I've been on a bus more than anybody. And the kids, every once in a while somebody will say something, is that water, is it gonna hurt me? I think I'm getting a rash. I'm like, no, nobody's been in that water more than me. Well, trust me, you're not gonna go home, go in the dark, or have a rash. But no, I have really, truly enjoyed it. Met a lot of nice people, and I wouldn't have made it through the last few years with all the technical things without Corinne over here, my lifesaver. She's my lifeline on all of our little technical things we need to do, but it's been good working with Nikki and everybody else at the middle school, and all my coworkers, Tom back there, and Aaron and Heather, everybody. I've really enjoyed it. And you know what? I just try to be positive, be in a good mood every day, and just try not to give up on kids. Some days it's a little harder. But it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I just worked at the high school girls track sectional the other night. I loved it. And they did so well. It's nice to see them continuing on with something that you had a little bit to do with. And One thing, no matter where I go to a race, whether it's a marathon, a 5K, no matter where it is, it could be in another state, somebody always comes up to me and I hear, Coach Funky? And then they're running, and I love it, because that's the whole point, the whole goal, is to find something you love and keep doing it to keep yourself healthy and fun. So.
And you exude that. We're so proud of you, and come back and see us. And I agree with Aaron Swafford. Your legacy is, it's incredible, and we're forever grateful for you.
Thank you. Thank
Yep,
you.
thank you. Give you a hug.
Could I say something really quick?
You sure can.
So, Coach Funky was my gym teacher in middle school and my volleyball coach. And then I was so thankful that she was there for all four of my kids. She taught them all four to swim. They were excited every summer to go and learn, and then they ended up on the other end where they were wanting to be lifeguards. Only one went through with it, but I will say at one point, gosh, it was probably 2020 or 2010 when I decided to run the Chicago Marathon. And he chubby mom with 4 kids, I was like, oh, I don't know. And I had my little running group, and you were so inspirational. I would get these messages, and the morning of the marathon, it was, run with the Kenyans, enjoy it all. You're running with great athletes. I was way back, they were in the front, but it didn't matter. You were so encouraging, and she did the same for every kid, whether you were fast, whether you were not. All three of my girls ran middle school cross country, and then you would see her at the end, and my dad still says it, where's Coach Funky? Because she stands at the end and she says, run, 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 like that. And she does it for every kid that comes through, and just so encouraging. And she's done the same with the high schoolers. She shows up at their races and cheers for them and just the run, run, run. And has done the same too with Audrey when she got admitted into Notre Dame, and with Autumn when she got her diving scholarship. So, just someone we're all gonna miss. So when I think of that heart of a teacher and the positivity, this is the face that goes with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're gonna miss you.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. All right, we have another middle school teacher that is retiring, and it's the incredible Darren Davis, and we'd like to call him up. So Darren is one of the quietest, but the most unique social studies teachers, and the kids absolutely, this is for you, my friend, a golden apple. And I have to tell you, he is very engaging in class, and kids absolutely love him. But I would have to tell you, it's very hard to get kids motivated in a social studies class, and he does it. They look forward to going to his class. He makes it relevant to today. And that's one of the things that I most admire about him, because sometimes you can look historically and you can't understand, why do I have to know this? And so he brings it to life for kids, and he helps them see the relevance of what they're learning and applying it to situations that we all face today. And so for that, I'm forever grateful for that, and trying to just teach just citizenship and civics to our students. And we're really proud of him for everything that he's been able to do in his classroom. He's an excellent colleague. He wants to share ideas with people. And again, just an engaging teacher on something that a kid may not be interested in, everyone. And you have to remember, one of the most famous lines that kids use on us is like, why do I have to know that? Right? That is like a common question. Why do I have to know that? And he brings that to our age today and makes it beautiful. So I want to thank you for that, Darren, because it's not an easy subject to teach. And so we thank you for that. And I'm going to call Mrs. Neely back up because she has some interesting information to share about you as well.
Now this is my buddy Darren.
Exactly.
Yep, and
Right.
so what you may not know is that Darren is, yes, a school teacher, but Darren is also the HMS personal plumber as well. He is a licensed plumber, and so anytime we have issues, personal issues at home or whatever, here comes Darren Davis to our house, and so he knows my husband, he's been to my house, fixed our water sprinklers and all that kind of stuff, so I know more than one of us has used him in that capacity as well. Some of my favorite things, I'll just be in his classroom, he'll be talking about religion, they have to cover that, and he's talking about the different countries and religion and whatnot, and he describes it so beautifully and so descriptively, and I'm like, wow, Darren, have you been there? Never have been. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know, the way you're talking about it and talking in stories and whatnot, I think you've been there. It's on my bucket list, I would like to do it. You get to do that, maybe.
That's right.
I've never met her, but I believe his wife Patty is here. And he is a girl mom too. He acts all tough, but he's a girl mom. A girl dad. He has two daughters, Maya and Ellie. And one of them, is it Ellie or Maya? That's a first grade teacher.
Ellie's the
Ellie.
first grade
And
teacher.
Maya loves music. And so he would do anything for his girls. And that's what I do like as well. He acts all tough, and he looks like Billy Bob Thornton, I say. He acts all tough, but you know, he is a girl dad. So I asked him to give me a couple of cool facts as well. He has taught 7th grade social studies, all at HMS, for 24 years. He's coached middle school softball club, high school softball, varsity and JV, middle school cross country, was awarded Hobart Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Educator in 2015, and was also a member of many of our teacher bands for the talent shows and
Yes.
other musical events at HMS. And so, again, I'm going to miss you so very much, but I'm so happy for this encore part of your life.
Thank you.
Yes, very good. I am a fan of yours. The teacher band was awesome. Do I have any comments from the audience? They're very shy. You could tell. They
So
couldn't
much.
get up here. Do you have a few words you would like to say, Darren?
Not really, I didn't know I was gonna be speaking, I have nothing prepared, you know, I like telling stories, and so social studies fits me. That's really my model for teaching, is to try and relate something to anyone I'm talking to in a story. Statistics, facts, and all of that stuff is not that important if you don't have, you know, some background, something to build off of. So that's the way I teach. I try to take something and make it better. You know, I have elements of plumbing, of music, of all these things that I bring to my life that, you know, I use. Nikki mentioned my daughters. One's a musician, the other's a teacher. You know, so so they listen to me. I don't know. Thank you all for the support all these years, and the opportunities, and honestly just for fighting for public education, which, you know, thank you all for that.
Yeah, thank you.
So, thanks.
You will be greatly missed,
Well,
and
thank you.
just thank you for bringing it to life.
Thank you very much.
All right, give it up for Darren. Oh, Dan is coming up. Here he comes.
Let's see, this could be a music conversation or a maintenance conversation. Every time we see you.
Plumbers,
Yeah.
music.
Congratulations, Darren. Thank you very much. So when I first started, he was one of the first people to talk to, you know, that I got to know. So he's always.
Darren
been-
always gets there really
Yeah.
early when you're on the scene, Dan. I could just say that.
Yeah,
So,
and so we had so much in common. We're both musicians. We both do plumbing. So, and he was always, I'm gonna miss 2 really good smiling faces in this building. It's just gonna be so different. You guys are, it's gonna take a minute to get used to not having you. I'm really thankful for having to work with both of you. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, thank you for that. All right.
Don't go anywhere yet.
Uh-oh. There's another one.
Yeah,
This is Maggie Craig. She used to be the AP assistant principal at the middle school, and now she's the principal at Joy Martin. I'm sure she has a couple stories.
So I met Darren back when I was teaching 7th grade English, and he was across the hall. And I, like Darren, would be one of the first ones in the building in the morning, and I'd be like, where is that music coming from? And I think that's how we started our friendship, is I would kind of wander into his classroom in the morning, and we started talking about music. Also a passion, but I don't play. And I loved watching how Darren would connect with students outside of just what you taught. I remember you performing in the teacher band, but I also remember you sitting on stage with students and playing just with them. And I
Yeah.
always thought that was so cool because you could see those connections grateful. I have called him sometimes when my basement was flooding, and I'm like, Darren, he's like, I'll be there. And I'm like, but you live in Highland and I'm in Valpo. He's like, I got you. And that's who he is. Like, when you are a friend of Darren's, you are a friend of Darren's, and he will do whatever he needs to do for you, and that goes to his students as well. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Way to go, Darren. You can always still come back for the teacher band, you know.
Yeah, I would do that.
I know you
do
would.
that. I missed that.
There you go.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very
you all.
much, Darren. All right, we're going to move to the high school, and I'm going to call up Mr. John Brumley. I will be just letting you know, I mean, like, all of these people just mean so much to us because, you know, we spend an enormous amount of time with the people we work with. They're like family to us. And John would be one of those people that, you know, call me 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, and it's because John's like family to me, and I just love him to pieces like I do our other faculty members. But to give you a little background on John, you know, it's not easy teaching higher level math. John, if you missed the last podcast, they're still reeling about calculus class. And so, you know, he's teaching the upper level math classes and, you know, the famous calculator saying in your room. And the kids just absolutely adore Mr. Brumley. And just in terms of faculty, knowing that they could go to John and talk to John about, you know, just the pressures of teaching upper level math and just any type of math or any type of concern that they have, and knowing that he would be a listening ear to be able to express their views. And, you know, he is just a person that you can go and talk to about just about anything, and then he tries to represent that in a way that's problem solving. And that is a unique gift. I've had several conversations with John just to help with problem solving up here with a staff that has 70 members that are just certified staff members, and like, how do you bring people together on a common idea? And I couldn't thank John enough for that. You know, when you bring on a new teacher, that in and of itself is an experience because you want them to be successful, right? And so John, he just takes everything so to heart. And when you're bringing on teachers that are brand new, and the methods classes not quite the same as like when some of us were in school, and we have to help them in order to be successful. And he is under his tutelage and department chair at Hobart High School of the math department, taken teachers under his wing and helped them be successful. And I watched teachers that struggled like crazy, and under John, they blossomed and they became amazing teachers. You see, you don't give up on people that invest in their careers to be teachers and then they struggle and they don't know what to do. You have to put them in the hands of a qualified person to help them. And that's who John is. When I think about kids, and I think about physics and, you know, the trips up to Great America with his physics class, and I just think about, you know, when a kid has to decide if am I going to take Project Lead the Way, engineering design and development, or am I going to go into the calculus class? And we're like, you have to go into the calculus class because they need that math background. And they're like, really? And they get in there and they realize, I'm looking back at my students and they're like, really? And they get in there and they discover that he makes it easy for them. And it's a hard topic if you don't remember people. And they come out of there and they're better students because of John. And I would just tell you that he's been nominated more times by students that are in the Hall of Scholars. Those are our top 15 students. Every year we highlight those top 15 students, and John has been chosen more than any teacher that I can recall. And he's been chosen as the outstanding educator, numerous nominations over the years, just because students recognize what a great teacher he is. And I will just tell you that I'm going to miss him. in more ways than one, just simply because I can sit and talk content with him. I can sit and talk with him about how do you think we should do this, and he's always just been a wise individual on what we should do to be the best in our school district. And I can't say enough about him and just how much he cares, and I am going to miss him forever. And I don't know if there's any audience members. There's a few out there that have had Mr. Brumley. And so look at them all out there, and I see his fellow department chair out there. But if you would like to come up and say a few words, we welcome that. So who would like to go first? Come on up, Audrey. Okay, she was on the last podcast show complaining about calculus, I will just say.
I only had Mr. Brumley for a semester, but he really did make a difference. Calculus is not my favorite class for many of the people in it. I don't know if it is, but going into his class and him as a teacher, he's one of the favorites. When he's been gone, we really missed him. We talk about you every day in calculus. I write word problems about him owning ferrets. We actually solved one of those today. We just really missed him, and he makes learning fun, and he has a way of just connecting with students and making it funny. And the last 10 minutes we do Wordle and connections, which you got me and my mom into doing that. And we still talk about your red solo cup that you have in there. And I was the one who drew the stick figure on your part. Yeah, that was me. And you still need to tell me if me or my mom is the better calculus student, which I think it's me. I agree. So he's taught both me and my mom, and he's just an amazing educator, and we're gonna miss you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you, Audrey. That was beautiful. Bill, did you want to say a few words?
No, the dog is fine.
Oh, she's bringing
John does like
Rose.
her. John was and is an amazing leader. He helped me a lot when I first came here. He actually came, when I was at the middle school, he actually was coming to the middle school meeting with us because I was teaching Algebra 1. And there was a test back then, you had to pass in Algebra 1, and I was very worried about my kids not passing it, so he had come and helped us. But he's been very helpful. John was my teacher. And I don't dye my hair most of the time, so it really makes his kids who have him currently think really hard because they're like, are you sure? Yeah. I was studying some math, and I had to tell him one day when I saw him at tennis was, I was looking over some upper level math, and somehow I still remember derivatives from 30 years ago. I don't know how, but it came back to me, huh? But he's been very helpful with our entire department. It's been great teaching with him. He's taught me a lot of doing stats with the
Yeah,
SAT
he does
stuff.
keep stats for a lot of our athletic programs.
And-
He is incredible with that.
And he does a lot of the SAT data.
Oh, yes.
He would do it. I would be like, I could help you, but he had it done, but he would
Yeah,
show me when,
I should
show me
tell,
when he was done.
I should tell the audience, we would get SAT data, and we would get it at like midnight, and by 8 o'clock, John had already disaggregated it and sent me a report. And so that's just who John was.
So yes, but it was great teaching with him. And Algebra 1 can always be sub, so if you ever want to come back, the double block kiddie school.
Yeah.
I can take a day off.
Come on back. Yeah.
Right, Rose?
Exactly.
Tell them you can always come back.
Anybody else in the audience?
All right.
All right, let's hear from Tracy,
Yes.
his lovely wife.
I actually just want to tell 2 quick stories. One is about you and John, because they do have like a very serious working relationship.
We do.
And so John is a night owl, and in the summer he will get his nights like I would be getting up in the morning and he was going to bed. He would get that far off, and sometimes I'd get up in the middle of the night to like use the restroom or something, and it'd be like 3 a.m. and he's emailing, and I'm like, who are you emailing? And I'm like, Dr. Buffington. Like, of course you are. And he's responding. But the other story I was going to tell, actually, our daughter had John for 4 different classes in high school. And yeah, she spent a lot of time in there. And John is an excellent, exceptional teacher.
He
But
is.
was not, like, behaviors are not really his thing. Like, he's taught calculus and physics and didn't have to really worry about the classroom so she's not afraid to be her. So they would come home from school, and there would be an issue because he hates, to this day, they're in their 20s, if the kids call him John. He's like, I am Dad, or I am Mr. Brumley, but you cannot call me John. And every day she would walk into his classroom and say, how's it going, John? And he'd come home. And they'd be having this little bickering thing. And I would be like to Amy, please stop calling him John. And I'm like, if you stop acting like you care, she will quit. And again, she has no discipline record. And I said, Amy, like, what are we doing? She goes, what are we going to do? He could write me up and they're going to call my parents. So after 2 years of that, they've all moved on. But I know you were an exceptional teacher for her as well.
Yes.
So thank you for all you've done for this community.
And I do want you to know, when you do think of our Bricky motto, all my life I want to be a Bricky, work, 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 that's John. And you can see it with the other people that we've called up here tonight, but there's never been a more dedicated person to high school kids than John. Making sure that they have that all-important math requirement that they need to go on to higher education. And they're afraid of it. And he makes it fun for them. And I am forever grateful for his capabilities and dedication and commitment to teachers and students, because that's who he is. And I just adore you, John. And I'm going to miss you, but he does have my cell phone number, everyone, so it's not
I'd like to say that John and I taught together for many years here, and the difference between us is rather large, because I was one of the math teachers that actually used the answers in the teacher's edition. And I think John was the guy that put them in there.
Okay, I will say this, we had everybody take a practice SAT test, and of course John took the practice SAT test, and he had to tell me how hard it was, and he told me that he barely finished it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And we expect kids to do this? But that's just who he was, and we're taking practice SAT to figure out how to help kids take the test better, and that's just the person that John was. I just love him for that sort of strategy. He's just a strategy guy. All right, our last retiree tonight, one of my favorites here, it's one of our incredible bus drivers, and I'm going to call Terry McCormick up. So Terry, come on up. And I'm going to call up our Director of Transportation, Mrs. Rosenbaum, if you want to come up, Becky. All right, so I have to tell you, you have to understand, when all of you are barely getting out of bed, Terry is up and at it. He's always one of the first drivers that is probably out in the garage and picking up his bus, and he is one of the most dedicated people. And look, don't make me cry now. Don't do it. But you have to understand, when you're a driver, and I always tell people this is the first face they see every single day, and it's an important face, right? It makes a difference on how they come to school, and it's the last face they see every day. And you're gonna make me cry. Don't do it. He's one of the most dedicated drivers, and it's gonna be hard to lose him. You can see him on the road. You can wave to him, but you know that he has his bus under control and that he loves the kids on his bus. And he is going to be forever missed by the kids. He'll be missed by us. And your dedication has just been phenomenal. And I don't think people realize how difficult it is to drive a bus. And it is extremely difficult. And this is a man that's been doing it for a long time. His service is impeccable. Kids do love him, and I'm going to miss him terribly. And I know the other drivers will too, as well as your students. And I'm going to have Mrs. Rosenbaum say a few words about you. But we absolutely love you, Terry.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't spend as much time with Terry as Lisa did, who's here.
Yeah, Lisa's out in the audience
Yeah.
as well. Former transportation director.
Terry's had to deal with me for only a
He's not afraid to tell you how he feels. He's there every day. He's so dedicated to the students. They're so comfortable they even try to reach out to him personally. He just has made a really big impact on all of the students, I think, and all of the families that he services here at the School City of Hobart. And we really are appreciative. And if you ever get bored, you know.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention that. You know, you're always welcome to sub.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I have to thank Lisa Wilkerson.
She's out there. Come on up, Lisa. She's a retired director of transportation. This is Lisa Wilkerson. Come on up, Lisa.
I wouldn't have made it, probably, all these years, the 10 years I did without her. So, I always said that she was the best boss I ever had.
She was a great boss.
He did say that. And he was a great driver.
He
and
was.
like Becky just said, he'll tell you what he thinks, and I'm very direct like that too. So it was great when he would come to me and tell me what was going on. And I learned with him, I think the one thing he taught me, even after working for 24 years as a teacher and 4 years as a principal, before ever working with Terry or meeting him, but you can't take it personal. Whatever the situation is, it's not me, it's not about me, but since I'm the boss, you gotta figure out what he's actually saying, what needs to be done, and how can I make the situation better. And I always tried to look at it that way. And he was always there driving.
Yep.
Whether he was taking care of his wife, whether she got sick, whether she ended up in the hospital. I remember, I think it was him that called and said, can I just take my bus to the hospital? I'll get it back by morning, whatever. And I'm like, yes, just do whatever you gotta do if you need me to find somebody to come get the bus or get you back or whatever. We'll figure that out. But he was always faithful, always took care of his kids, and was always there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And we're so grateful.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we have one more agenda item before we recess, so if you could hold on for one more minute, because we've got an important announcement that we have a very important audience member.
And that is the recommendation of the administrative appointment for the Hobart High School Athletic Director, Dr. Buffington.
That's right. For the audience purposes, the recommendation for an administrative contract and appointment for our athletic director for Hobart High School in the School City of Hobart is sitting in the audience. It's Mr. Keith Kilmer. He is from Lowell. Don't get nervous out there, people. I know. I've heard that. Like, Lowell, what are you talking about? But you know what? Like, take that, Lowell. He's coming to Hobart. And so I want to just talk about the man that we've been able to get to know through the interview process. He comes highly recommended, and getting to know him in the interview process has been a pleasure. A man of deep integrity and character, and he brings those values to Hobart, and that's what we want in our athletic program. And we want somebody that has great integrity and values that will help our coaches instill those things as well. And we know him more famously on the football field as our nemesis. We won't hold that against him, but I have to tell you, he was an amazing coach. And he is the assistant athletic director in Lowell. He will be our athletic director, but he comes with tremendous experience. And that experience is so welcome. From running multiple IHSAA events, which we do that here at our high school, and you have to have someone that has that background. When you talk to Keith, one of the things that you learn quickly about him is that he is so student-centered, and the IHSAA, they really promote education-based athletics, and that's what he's all about. And when you talk to him, it's always about the transferability of the life skills they learn in athletics, and how does it transfer to other things in life. And so we all know that when we bring our athletes here to a board meeting, their grade point averages are extremely high. They're out in the community doing other things, and we want that value system in our athletic department. And how do we not miss a beat? And we found the person that we know that will continue the great work that we have here and take it beyond. One of the funny stories that I can tell you in the interview process, as we were getting to know Keith really well, he talked about the L Club, and I'm like, whoa, you cannot say the L Club here. And he goes, Dr. Buffington, it's leadership. And I'm like, leadership is fine, but we're not using L Club here. And he's like, got it. And he's like, you got an H Club, right? And I'm like, H Club for sure. Do not use the word L. So we kind of kidded about that. But he really is about leadership with our athletes. And he's run a very successful program down in Lowell with his L Club. And he does have a passion for unified sports, just like we do. And so when you want to talk about someone that comes with a total package, because I know so many people were asking me about who's going to be the athletic director, who's going to replace our athletic director, we found someone that has great similarities, and he will take the program and he will be able to continue it and to grow it. And we're confident of that. And so it's with distinction and honor that I present to the board my recommendation for an administrative appointment of our athletic director, and it would be Keith Kilmer. He will receive a 2-year contract with a salary of $97,870. That contract will begin July 1. We did add some extra days to his contract so that he can spend some time with Mr. Black, and that will be noted on a contract. His contract is for 240 days. He's actually going to begin his role on June 3rd, and I'm so thankful for that. He's leaving Lowell when his contract is ending and coming straight here when I'm sure he needs a vacation. You all know spring sports are rough in Northwest Indiana, and so I'm grateful for that, to work alongside Mr. Black. He should be compensated his daily rate on those dates that are not part of his original contract from June 3rd to June 30th. And that would be a total of 20 days that we're adding to his contract. So it's with great pleasure that I recommend Keith Kilmer for our next athletic director.
We're all ready to do that.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the appointment of Keith Kilmer as the athletic director at Hobart High School as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote.
Well chosen.
Don't worry, Keith,
The
it's
nervous
just a
part.
technology thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our athletic director, Keith Kilmer, come on up.
Dr. Buffington told me I'd give a speech as we were walking in, and then I have to listen to all you great retirees give your speech. I just want to thank Dr. Buffington and the board for giving me this opportunity. I couldn't be more excited. Thinking about what to say, going through this process, I knew Hobart is a very respected rival, right? Like I know so many of the coaches here, so many of the people here, and you looked at them across the field, and I don't want to use the word hate, but you hated them.
It's
As
true,
soon as the game
it's
was
true.
over.
Hey, the feeling was mutual.
It's the first interview I ever had where they told me I couldn't say the word of the school I was at during the entire interview. But during my process, it was just as important to find out that even though they were a heated rivalry, it's a place that has the same values, the same beliefs that I have. I'm going to tell you, sitting here and watching the retirees come up in the way you guys love one another, that's a place I want to be. And I thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity. I'll do my best to live up to the great Mike Black and Bob Glover who came before me to keep the Bricky tradition alive. Thank you.
Timmy, his wife,
for you.
Uh-oh.
I heard in the interview that you only had one purple tie.
My lucky.
Now you have a second.
Thanks, Coach.
Ah, that's great, Coach. Thank you so much. You're gonna be awesome. God bless you. He knows these guys. All right, so guess what? Oh, Mr. Turley, come on up.
I just want to say, from the community, and I texted Dr. Buffington as soon as Amy let me know that you were here, and I had no idea, they didn't leak it. And when she texted me that you're there, I texted Dr. Buffington right away, and I said, you got a great one, and he is a great one, and we're lucky to have him, and we're thankful to have you, and you're gonna do great things here. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Turley.
All righty, we have a brief recess for cake and punch.
Please
So
have some
please
cake and
help
punch,
yourself.
everyone.
Ha-ha!
Okay, but
Maybe.
it should be showing up.
Yeah, but you're still not getting video on it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And end of year activities. Mr. Porras, if you could read the title of the resolution, please.
Yes, we have resolution number 2026-16, safe and drug-free graduation, open houses, and end of the school year activities.
Thank you. Board, your pleasure.
Bye-bye.
We have a motion and a second, and we need a roll call vote as well as electronic, please.
Yes, David Goffey. Aye. John Rogers.
I was gonna text you.
Brad Sexton. Stuart Schultz is absent. Brian Flores votes aye. Sam Gillen. Aye. Ricky Guthrie.
Aye. And we passed that 5-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the overnight extended student trip for the Hobart High School JROTC 2026 Cadet Leadership Challenge Summer Camp. Dr. Buffington?
All right, well, this is good prep for them, always with the Raiders and the competition. They've been going for a very long time. This year it's from June 16th to the 21st. The focus is leadership, adventure training, not combat training, and the activities include quite a few things that are very useful to our cadets. There will be a 1-to-10 ratio of certified JROTC instructors and cadets. The director of the Army instruction for the Indianapolis Public Schools is the commandant, and his staff has the primary responsibility for planning it. There will be 14 to 20 cadets attending. If the group is 14, they will travel in an activity bus. If there's a few more, then we'll take we'll probably add an additional bus. The cadets will stay in troop barracks and they'll eat military dining halls. There's no cost, and Army furnishes all the meals and lodging. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a recommendation that the board approves the request for the junior ROTC for cadets to attend the 2026 Cadet Leadership Challenge Summer Camp as presented.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 5-0. Thank you, board. And the next item on our agenda is the PLCW Distinguished District Award. Dr. Buffington?
Well, I can't say enough about our teachers and Tammy May, our technology department, our directors of curriculum, and sharing in the distinction of this award. I want to take you back to a trip that I took with Hank Jarvis in 1999 to the Rochester Institute of New York, where we became one of the Project Lead the Way schools in Indiana. And when we did so well at that program for pre-engineering and starting the Gateway program at the middle school and then starting the engineering program at the high school, we were so successful they gave us to pilot the biomedical program thereafter. And we've been a Project Lead the Way school system for quite some time thereafter. What this means is that all of our students, pre-K through 12th grade, we have units that follow a problem-based learning model. It's hands-on, very research-based, and obviously it's a STEM curriculum: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we have produced some amazing students that walk out with the background that they do here. A lot of people don't realize that it can be anything from engineering to computer science to biomedical, and the curriculum is a national-based curriculum, and they're always updating it, and it's always relevant to real-world problems. And there's very few people in our country that have a district recognition. The district recognition is because all of your schools and every student is offered this program. So meeting the criteria is extremely difficult. 30 districts in the country made the distinguished list. There's been times when there's only like 7 or 8, and we were one of them. This is the 6th consecutive year for School City of Hobart, and as you can see, it's a very distinct honor. I wanna thank Pat for always doing her homework, looking it up. Only 8 of those 30 were in Indiana, and we are one of them. I would just say, Tammy May, she is our professional development specialist in the department. She's written many grants to help fund a lot of the consumables that go with this. And we're just really dependent on our technology department to help us make sure this program is running correctly. And then on top of it, Tammy is our professional development specialist for Launch, which is the elementary program side of it. Could not do this without her. And then I will also just say to the teachers that have to constantly keep their skills up, computer science, building the future, AI and manufacturing, that's just a sample of what they're taking this summer to be equipped to handle this type of curriculum. And they do it without hesitation. And so I can just say to you, it's something that we should be really proud of.
Thank you for that, Dr. Buffington. And board, do you have any comments in regards to this recognition?
Please thank Tony for us. That's my hard work. Great job.
All right, next item on the agenda is the recommendation to accept the John Anderson Foundation grant. Dr. Buffington?
Well, this is an important grant that we were made aware of by Mr. Rogers down there. And believe it or not, much credit goes to Pat Schoon for this grant. Her and Tammy May and Chris King and some of the people that we work with as we're collecting our data and our information. So every year we apply for this grant when it becomes available, and it's for 2 purposes. The first is for $1,000 to the theater department. They usually keep their microphones up to date. I know every year that we're lucky enough to get this award, it's for microphones for the theater department, but they break their microphones all the time. They're really delicate, and I can see that. But the other $4,000 is being used toward a new program at Hobart Middle School called Building the Future. And that is that Project Lead the Way program. It's brand new curriculum. The consumables are very expensive, but this program is centered around construction and carpentry. And it's also entails pipe fitting, welding, and we're really, and energy. We're pretty excited about it because that was one of the things as you were looking at the data centers and you were looking at Amazon Web Services and what are jobs, no matter what, that kids can always fall back on, and it's the trades, right? And so getting kids excited about the trades is really important, and this is a beautiful class that's being added at our middle school. So again, civil engineering with carpentry, plumbing, HVAC. By the way, this will be a great feeder system for Hobart High School, and I will let you know that Ivy Tech, because of all the excitement that we've been building for these types of programs, Ivy Tech, who is our early college program with career and technical ed at the Career Center, they had to add a welding teacher and they had to add a pipe fitting teacher this year. So we're pretty excited about that. I want to thank Pat, Tammy, and Chris for their hard work on this, and I would ask the board to accept the amount for $5,000 as we will make sure that that is spent accordingly.
I recommend the board accept the John Anderson Foundation grant in the amount of $5,000, authorize the superintendent to execute any necessary documents for that grant award. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any comments on the agenda item?
I would just say it was in your write-up that we've received $68,000 from the Anderson Foundation, which is very much appreciated. And they really don't want any hoopla about it. They just like to help people where they can.
There we are.
Mr. Benovich is still on the board, and Mr. Compton is in charge of it.
And that passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the first reading of resolution adopting updates for Hobart School Board policy. Mr. Longer?
Board, before you, you have resolution 2026-17. And attached, you have 21 exhibits, including a number of proposed amendments and changes to the bylaws and policies for the school city of Hobart. These are the bylaws changes that were reviewed at our work session this afternoon at 5:30, where we went through each exhibit and discussed the proposed changes. Changes, for the most part, are either technical corrections or are amendments to align board policy with changes in state law, in federal law, or federal regulations and policies. Where those proposed bylaw amendments, all of which were recommended by Neola, contained optional language. The options marked or indicated represent the recommended choice of your administration together with myself. And we met and reviewed each of these and determined which of those options were appropriate before recommending it to the board. Tonight is your first reading on this resolution. It would be placed on the June 9th meeting for second reading and final adoption. I'm happy to review each of these in detail if you'd like, or answer any questions, although I suspect you probably remember our conversation from 5:30, so that's not necessary.
Mr. Porras, if you would read the resolution, please, or title.
School City of Hobart, Board of School Trustees, resolution number 26-17, a resolution approving amendments to the bylaws and policies of the Board of School Trustees of the School City of Hobart.
Board, your pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion that the board adopt resolution number 2026-17 for the bylaws and policies changes in the comprehensive document entitled Bylaws and Policies of the School City of Hobart, and move the second reading and possible adoption to the June 9th, 2026 board meeting.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, oh, sorry.
Just thanks Bill and John, I know you worked hard on that.
If not, Mr. Porras, if you would do roll call on board, also an electronic based.
Yes, David Cosby.
Aye.
Don Rogers.
Aye.
Brad Keane is absent. Stuart Schultz is absent. Frank Forrest votes aye. Sandy Gillen.
Aye.
And Ricky Guthrie.
Aye. And that passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the authorization of a purchase agreement for the sale of Ridgeview School. Mr. Longer.
Board, you will recall that Gemini submitted the bid on the purchase of Ridgeview School, which was accepted, and what was contemplated was that there would be a purchase agreement that would be entered into between the parties. We had set a deadline of May 1st to have that done, and we are slightly beyond that. But we have a purchase agreement which was drafted by myself and reviewed and modified by Geminis and signed by them, and that has been presented to us for our signature and acceptance. It primarily reflects the conditions set forth in the letter of intent that they submitted as their bid. There are a couple of things that are probably worthwhile to note. There are contingencies in the agreement as there were in the letter of intent, and one of those is the approval of the agreement by their board of directors. Another is their receipt of a grant that they've applied for to provide the funding for the purchase. We anticipate that their board will meet and hopefully decide on this in August, but we have a deadline in the purchase agreement of December 1st, so that if it looks like we're not going to have an agreement, we have a date that we can basically terminate the sale and move in another direction if we need to. The purchase agreement contemplates that upon approval that we would order a phase 1 environmental assessment of the Ridgeview property, and we have a proposal for that. I think that is attached to the agenda item, and so you can see that. The company that we're proposing is familiar with the building, as they are with many of the buildings in the school city. They are the same company that did the environmental assessment for the last parcel that we bought from the Youngstroms, and so we have prior experience with them that is satisfactory, and I anticipate that they will be able to get this done promptly because of their familiarity with the building. They have assured me that there'll be no problem doing what they need to do and working around the use of the building over the summer months without interfering with its use. So I'm recommending to the board that it authorize Dr. Buffington to execute the purchase agreement and the proposal from Americo for the phase 1 environmental assessment.
Yeah, could I add too, Bill, just wise counsel back and forth with Mr. Longer on some things that we thought were really important to address with Geminis. And one of the things that we felt was really important to address with them was continuation of the lease agreement with the Y. And so that is also a big part of this, and their intention being made known to the Y. And just our continued ability to be able to lease to them, and that continuation while this process is going on, and that there would be no, where they would conclude that lease and let them finish out so that they would have time to plan. And they were very agreeable when we brought that concern to them.
Well, and another reason I wrote that into the purchase agreement, the right that we would have to re-let the property if a tenant vacated, and the requirement that Geminis would continue to occupy the property and rent it and pay the rent during the pendency of the agreement. I did that because I didn't want to have a situation where Geminis would terminate their lease, object to a reletting, and put us in a position where we're maintaining the property with no rental income while we wait to see if they conclude the purchase. And they have communicated to us that they will continue to lease the property, and that they are comfortable with the YMCA continuing to occupy the part that they lease through the end of the upcoming school year. And with that representation, I'm comfortable recommending the execution of the purchase agreement as it's worded.
Board, your pleasure.
I'd make a motion that the board authorize the superintendent to sign the purchase agreement for the sale of Ridgeview and the phase 1 proposal environmental site assessment.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question about Ridgeview and the YMCA
that was just Crossroads trying to make it more accommodating. I'm not sure that it was a grant. I just think that they were trying to improve the surroundings that they had in front of them. And they asked permission for it, they never mentioned the grant.
Oh.
But I couldn't be for sure about it, I'm just saying they never mentioned to me it was a grant.
They've invested quite a bit of money in the Hobart Y building as well. They do have some funds that have been made available to them from the White Foundation that they've been able to use for some of that.
I think it is important too to note that, with the two of them leasing the facility right now, they're good neighbors. I mean, I've only had to referee one time where I was like, play nice in the sandbox together here, we can share spaces. But I do think in great faith as they were going back and forth and talking with Bill, it was very important to us that the Y have their intent and have notice and not interrupt services in the middle of a school year. And so we were able to talk with them about it, and they agreed with us. And so not only just that we won't have a vacated building if something happens, but we want to take care of the Y too. So.
Alrighty, that passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Next is the added item, which is permission to advertise the notice of hearing on proposed school construction project. Dr. Buffington.
Board, in your packet, you have a copy of a notice that would be describing a proposed school construction project, and that the board schedule and advertise a notice of a 10/28 hearing on this project. We would ask that the board give us permission to advertise this notice of the hearing, and it will take place on June the 9th, and it will be placed on the agenda item, and I am requesting that you give me permission to put this out for advertisement. Board action is requested.
Recommend the board grant permission to advertise the notice of hearing on proposed school construction project as presented and to place on the June 9, 2026 agenda and 28 days.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Generous. Yeah.
More to come, June the 9th.
All right, board, thank you, 5-0. Our next item on the agenda is our change in meeting date from the 4th to June 9th at 7 p.m. in the boardroom here at Hobart High School.
Board, just to refresh your memory as to why we're changing this, we don't like to change meeting dates, but when it's in recognition of our students, it would be appropriate to change the date. And I will be attending one of their really lengthy award ceremonies by the Legacy Foundation that many of our students are receiving scholarships from Legacy that night. And so very appropriate that we move our meeting date so that I can attend their dinner.
Our next item is updates, announcements, and reports. Dr. Buffington.
Well, I can say you have all the weekly agendas and newsletters out there for yourselves to take a look at. Lots going on everywhere as we're winding down. You can read those at your leisure.
Righty. And the next item on the agenda is the summer feed program.
Board, in your packet, you have a copy of the summer feed program, and I think it's very important to recognize now that we have to go back to that old way that you have to be present to have the meals, and that's not by our design. And so when you get complaints I am just letting you know, these are federal guidelines. We cannot break federal guidelines, and those are the rules of engagement. I will just say, a lot of the food service department, school nutrition, if you would, received this information pretty late. And they already had their summer feed programs planned and had to redesign these plans. And I want to give Patrick Ryba-King just a shout out with Tracy Coslett, because they really had to hustle and change their programming. And so you can see the menu, you can see the program, they'll make it be successful, but I think it's important to let the public know you have to be on site, right? And there's no other way to do it. And they're just used to the drive up where they could get those bagged meals, and you can't do that anymore. So, we'll get her done though.
All right. Our next item on the agenda is upcoming activities and events.
Well, I would like to say I think they're winding down quite a bit here. It's been a lot, and they've been all extremely rewarding. In comments, I'll make a comment about the May 20th Senior Citizen Concert. First grade orientation going on tonight. That's a big leap for our kindergartners going on to first grade. Memorial Day, of course. Graduation at the Brickyard at 6 o'clock, and don't forget to be there a little bit early to get your regalia. And then the last day for students is June the 2nd. Kindergarten graduation, June the 2nd. And if you've never been to a kindergarten graduation, you do not want to miss that. It is so much fun. If you do want to participate, you would need to meet me in the field house at least by 5:45, and we'd welcome you to participate in that as well.
Right. Fun stuff coming. Next item is comments.
Well, I could say so much. We've had literally something every night of the week for probably the last 3 weeks, and it's extremely rewarding. I mean, you go home and you wake up the next day and you're like, what day is it? And you're just like exhausted from the amount of time. But it doesn't matter because the events are so rewarding. And it's just been a pleasure to be at all of them. And I'm only going to talk about the one that I thought was just extraordinary, which is my experience last night. And I want it to be on the record, which is why I'm going to reiterate what happened last night at the choir concert. We had a senior citizen choir performance, and Mr. Wolf, in the dark, was tapping me on the shoulder and telling me that we had a student that was having an asthma attack. And, I said, did we call 911? And as I'm walking out to try to engage, and I said, where's the student backstage? And as I arrived going down that hallway of the performing arts, our students had taken control of the situation. And what was so beautiful about that is that she had literally collapsed as she was coming off stage, and our kids caught her. They had her down on the floor. They ran and got ice. They were getting water for her. They were holding her hand, trying to figure out where her inhaler was, and she was in distress. And so when I arrived on the scene, I'm watching them in action as I'm coming down the hallway, and I'm getting ready to call 911, obviously. I'm running and have my phone in hand, and I'm telling her to breathe, count to 4, breathe, breathe in, breathe out, breathe slow, and we've got your hands. And I had a retired EMT person out behind me. I think people could see I was leaving the audience, and as I'm calling 911, this is the crazy part of the story, I'm getting a call from Mr. Lito, our athletic trainer, and he was actually out at girls softball. I did not know that. He actually did not know where I was. He was calling me for something else, but did not know that. And I said, where are you? And he's like, I'm at girls softball. And I'm like, he goes, where are you? I'm like, I'm outside the black box. I have a student in distress having an asthmatic attack. I'm calling 911. He's like, I'm on my way. He comes up in the golf cart. She's still breathing. She's starting to be able to bring herself down as we're waiting. And I want to just talk about our students and how they responded. So one of the students was like, give me your phone number. She was trying to call her mom for the inhaler, and she's like, your mom won't answer my phone. Give me your phone. And so they recognized that they needed to like have a phone number that the mom would recognize to bring the inhaler up here. Other kids coming, they've got ice packs, and the interesting part, everyone, the show must go on. You had kids still going on stage performing while all of this was still going on outside in the performing arts hallway. As Mr. Lido arrived, you know, I knew that she was not in the distress that she was when I arrived on scene. He took her blood pressure, we had her calming down, her mother arrived, she had her inhaler, she was doing pretty well. But we still felt like she needed to go to the hospital just to make sure, right? So, as she was getting ready to get up and go to the hospital, and now mind you, we'd been out in the hallway for almost an hour, right? Just trying to make sure that everything's kosher, and the show's still going on. As she gets up to leave, she recognizes one of the students that helped her and she said, Dr. Buffington, she needs to get a BOP, be excellent on purpose. And then that student said, no, she deserves to get a BOP. And then she's like, oh no, that student did this, and then it was like, before you know it, they are announcing all these kids that should be recognized for like taking charge of the scene and being excellent on purpose. And I told the student, and I called her by name, and I'm like, listen, when you're well enough, you can make the list of everybody that needs to get a BOP, and you and I will pass them out together. But I want to just say, for what they did in a moment when a student collapsed, and they caught the student, and they responded. They got adults, they started taking care of her while the adults were arriving on scene, and they just were magnificent. And I think the student, it was very apparent that she recognized that they were excellent, right? And they helped her in crisis and distress. And I have to tell you, I left there, it was very intense, very emotional, but with a sense of pride that our students are that loving and caring for each other and could respond the way they did. And then for the students to respond on how they had gratitude for each other. And I'm just telling you, that's what we're about. And you could have left here on the most rewarding evening, even though I didn't get to see the concert, right? It was a very rewarding evening to see our students behave the way they did. And so for that, it's a shout out to them. And if you really think that be excellent on purpose is just something that we say, it's not. It matters to kids. It really does. And that's my comments.
Thank you. Corinne?
That was a very wonderful story, and honestly, I felt myself tearing up a little bit because it's really nice to see that we foster such a sense of community and care for each other.
It really is.
Thank you. Mr. Longford?
I want to publicly thank John for his hard work on the board policy amendments.
Yes.
He does a lot of work before I even get the material that makes it a lot easier for us to work through all this. And so I do appreciate all the work that he puts in, and I think it's appropriate for me to thank him, in public once again for all that work.
Here.
With regard to Coach Funky, I am also the parent of a student that she taught to swim. And I'm absolutely convinced that that Learn to Swim program that she's run all these years has saved lives. With all of the water in this area, whether it's Lake Michigan, whether it's, rivers, Lake George, private pools, public pools, the number of kids that don't panic when they hit the water because she's taught them how to swim. She's saved lives. And so I thank her for that.
Thank you. Mr. Mott?
Each of the educators that we recognize this evening, I actually had as a teacher at one point. So that was really special. But I again have I have a quick story about Coach Funkhauser. First, she did teach me how to swim way back in the day. And most people don't realize this, when I was in 6th grade, I had casts on both of my legs. They were walking casts to some extent for a majority of my 6th grade year. And Coach Funkhauser and Coach Glass took me under their wing and allowed me to participate in my own way in PE class. Just doing different things, whether it was running the scoreboard or whatever, but allowed me to participate in a way that made me feel a part of that class, even though I couldn't do the same things as everybody else. And so for students that are in very vulnerable situations like that, being a brand new 6th grader in this new environment, and then now you can't do those things, I just really appreciated both of their efforts, and it's something that has stuck with me forever. So just wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
That's a great story, John. Thank you.
Mr. Creed?
I would echo those comments. I think it was really neat that Mr. Kilmer mentioned what he did. Perfect night, right, to be here. I think a lot of us, Sandy mentioned, have Betty stories. I think there's probably countless. Mine maybe isn't as impactful. I could draw a tear from that. But for me, it was, when I learned to swim with Betty, I had to put my nose. And I had these little nose plugs that I brought with me, and kids were making fun of me. And you can imagine that Betty took care of that. And so I think it's a testament to who she is. I have a ton of respect for Mr. Brumley, but something else I respect about him is just he can talk about sports and all kinds of other stuff, just like he can talk about physics and what have you. And then Mr. Davis, I mean, he's one girl dad to another, who I have respect for. And then Mr. McCormick there, that was beautiful, what he had to say, and getting teary-eyed. We know first and last people that kids see, right? So I thought it was a beautiful night.
Thank you. Mr. Cosby?
Okay, thank you to Mr. Longer and Mr. Mock for all the work on the policy updates, the Ridgeview information. I know that's a ton of time put into that, so we appreciate that. Retirees, definitely again impactful. Mrs. Funkhauser, she was my 6th grade gym teacher. She was my son's 6th grade gym teacher. She taught my son to swim. Mr. Brumley was my physics and calculus teacher. He's also my son's physics and calculus teacher. As a parent, his daughter and my son are the same age, so we grew up as parents together in the same. And to Mr. Krieg's point, can talk about, and I'm a big sports guy. We can talk sports all day long. Had a tremendous love for high school athletics. And as you can see in everything he did, in his vast knowledge of memory, that he knew every statistic and every player from the state of Indiana, whether they were down south or they were around here. We could talk for hours at elementary events with our kids about sports while people were talking about other things. So I always found a good time talking to him. Athletics, wow. Mr. Kilmer, he is the right choice. As I mentioned the last meeting, when I heard the word Lowell, I had a hard time with that. But after talking to several people, I spoke with Coach Gurley, and to know that he is the right choice. And we have a good person there, and he's gonna kind of just take right over where Mike left off. And
daughter was one of the swimmers that was taught by Ms. Funkhauser. And, once again, like, I also agree that she taught people how to swim, which saved lives. And, she did it with a smile, positive attitude, and, very encouraging, very encouraging. And, finally, I'd like to mention, the John Anderson Foundation for the continued support in areas of our studies which are largely ignored sometimes. So thank you for that.
Congratulations to the retirees. I like the way Mrs. Neely said, this is your encore. You know, what a way to look at retirement. It's your encore. It's not even to do what you want. I'm sure they were doing what they wanted in their career as well, but they don't have to wake up to an alarm clock. They make many choices. Looking forward to all the activities coming up. Graduation is the highlight of being a board member. It's what I look forward to the most, so I'm excited that that is around the corner, excited for our student reps. I know they're so busy right now, and they're just soaking it all up, so I'm happy for them. Bill and John, thank you. Sometimes reading policy is like watching paint dry.
Water boy.
And when I was a principal, one of the things that we had to do was take portions of policy, and we all had our own part, you know. So John, I know what you're going through before anyone sees it. It's a lot, so thank both of you for making sure that we are in line. It makes our work sessions a lot easier, that it's all highlighted like that, and we know what to look for. So I appreciate that extra work you put in. And that's all for me.
I'd like to start by thanking Bill and John as well. Sandy made it sound so much better than I would ever have. So we'll just agree with her on that, especially the highlighted parts and pointing out what needed to be changed and that this was just a technical thing or this is revised, or that helps us to digest it a little bit easier and helps us to be more efficient as board members too when we're trying to do a work session before other meetings, so that's very helpful. For the retirees, Betty Funkhauser is a beacon of light to our middle school students. She is very positive, she is encouraging, and it's not just to specific students or to this group of students, it's to every student. She, like Lauren Swafford, or like Mrs. Swafford said, how do you get middle schoolers to run three miles after a long day at school? I mean, that's something